Hey guys, I have a little gift for us
Oh my gosh, what do you have, Cole Daly?
today. We have very special. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
You're close to this in here anyway. I hope it's a card.
It's even better.
I hope it's some new shoes.
It's even better. Open them.
Oh!
We got Inside Sports.
I kid.
Dude, the backs are very funny.
I kid you not. I was thinking about this on the way in this morning. I was thinking about what if we had Inside Sports shirts? But
that's so great.
Even better than I was imagining.
I think we should wear them for the last pod. Hello, folks, and welcome to the last episode of the Inside Sports podcast. At least
of this era.
Where we have Joey Bernard, our graduate assistant for the Daily Egyptian, myself, Cole Daly, editor-in-chief of the Daily Egyptian, and Jay Cruz, who's just some guy. Out of all of us, Jay Cruz might be the only one that could return, but the likelihood is not high. So we don't want to promise anything to the fans that could get out. But Joey B will be leaving us. I will be in Europe by the time that next time starts. And Jay Cruz is switching his
I'm switching my major.
Switching your major to sports administration.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how much access I'll have to this side of things.
That's right.
This side of the building. This is a whole other podcast about the logistical side of what we've been doing the last few years. But yeah. 100%.
It feels good, boys. Shout out to my mother for these Inside Sports T-shirts.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we can do like a Zoom.
Flex my muscles.
And
ask
that's
us
right.
about our podcast.
That's right. Let's hope it is. Let's kick it off with Dogs of the Vet.
What an emotional opening.
With a check-in. Softball. Sweep versus Indiana State. Only gave up one run. And it was a sack fly? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, sacrifice fly is the full term, but you for short sack fly.
Yeah, gotcha. So they are currently at 36-9, 20-4 in the Missouri Valley. Number 1 in the Valley, number 51 in the RPI rankings. Joey B, I'll start with you. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny. Every single game in the series against Indiana State, we finished in five innings, as normal softball games are 7 innings. So that tells you how dominant this offense and pitching staff was, specifically Matty Agroff, these 3 games. But every game, it was the 4th inning specifically that we got all our runs mostly. It pushed us into, oh man, we can actually run roll. So that's just terrific. And it's just kind of a coincidence, I feel like, in the 4th inning, but I wonder why that was. It's impossible to have had a better weekend, I guess. I mean, the sack fly run is the only run that we gave up, and it was like in the bottom of the 5th on Indiana State's last out in like game 2. So, I mean, how much better we could have gotten, I have no idea. We just matched our win total from last season, so that's terrific. We can surpass it this upcoming weekend when we play Murray State, and they're also at the lower end of the Missouri Valley Conference right now. So I feel like it's fair to say that we could probably get a series win. We've been dominant the past couple weeks, just in general. I feel like we've been just saying it week after week. It's just another dominant week by Salukis softball. So I love getting used to this, and I hope that I'll hear back in a couple weeks that we won the Missouri Valley Conference title once I leave for my internship. I didn't mention that. I leave for my internship over in Green Bay with the Rockers.
Wow.
They're a minor league baseball team.
There you go.
And so I leave that next week, but I'm hoping next week I hear that we have a swept over Murray State and we're going to have a good start in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Wonderful. Multiple weeks ago, Jay Cruz, we talked about the softball team. You said, I don't know if they're going to get to that next level, get over the hump, right?
I
you were
said that?
Yeah, you said
wow.
there were some inconsistencies with our hitting,
100%,
and with pitching. But this is a long time ago.
Yes. I could absolutely see myself seeing that. But now we're weeks later.
That's right.
And I don't see a weakness in our lineup at all. everyone who was in a slump is back. Sydney Jones, Jackie Liss. Emma Austin's finally started getting on base again. She's even using a little bit more power than she typically does. A lot of times with slappers, as I demonstrated in a video we did. A lot of times they are just completely infield based, but her and Bailey Kaler have done enough integrating of the how do you put it, like the it's almost like a mortar for anybody who's like ever played Clash of Clans before. The mortar just kind of places it in a very specific spot, kind of like over the infield, if that makes sense. And that's how she's been doing it. So that's been really impressive to see. So yeah, there's no weakness in this lineup. There's no weakness in this pitching staff. It's all just about endurance. We have a young team. Can they survive yet another long Missouri Valley Conference tournament and then keep that momentum? Hopefully for the NCAA tournament.
I didn't have a Clash of Clans reference on my bingo card.
And I didn't really play it either. I played it for maybe like 2 weeks, but I know what a mortar is.
Right. Let's talk about baseball really quick. 2-2 week, 500 week, where they had a series loss, went 1-2 against Indiana State, and then defeated Southern Indiana on Tuesday.
That's right.
It's impressive we squeaked out a win against Indiana State, isn't it, Jay Cruz?
Yeah, it is pretty impressive, 3-2, and the way that we played in the other 2 games, you thought we could have maybe squeaked out another. But we'll take it. It did a lot for our RPI. Losing to them at home didn't do too much to hurt us, and I think it inspired a little bit of confidence because you saw it in that Tuesday game. The offense was able to string together multiple hits at a time. It's weird, but we've struggled in midweek games this year. We were 3-4 in our last 7 playing against Southern Indiana, and pretty much every team we play in the midweek is on paper worse than us. They always have a worse record pretty much. One could argue we should have been 2-5 if we would have lost to Western Illinois, which we were down 11-1 in that game. So getting that win against Southern Indiana was huge for us, and I think even though it's a midweek game, even though it doesn't matter for conference play, I still think it gives us some positive momentum heading into another conference weekend.
100%. Joey B, 26-19, 9-9 in the Missouri Valley. So once again, 500. And we're sitting at 5 in the Valley. So, 500, 5 in the Valley, kind of makes sense for SIU sports.
I mean, we've been playing like a 5th place team all season. I think just kind of lately it's been starting to come together. I was just gonna say it feels weird to almost feel happy that we in a series loss against Indiana State that we got 1 win against such a highly touted team. Obviously, it's not anything close to what basketball did this year against a ranked team, but just compared to where we were at like weeks ago with this team. I think this is really telling of where they've come. And we were, like Jay Cruz said, we were very, very close to squeaking by a second win, or at least making it close in at least that Game 3, specifically for a long time. This team is just getting better and better. We have only a couple more weeks to go. So we'll see if this can, this little run that we've been going on can get going here. I don't know how much I want to take from the midweek games. I almost want to ask you guys, how much do you guys actually take from the midweek games? Because it seems like the midweek games are non-conference games. And at least this late into the season, how much do they actually matter in terms of, us being able to, well, specifically us being able to further in the conference? They don't have anything to do with our conference record.
No.
Yeah, I was on the broadcast this week on Tuesday, and one of the things that I said, and my partner Mike Trude, shout out, agreed with me, and he said that midweek games, the reason God created midweek games is so guys who are in a slump can get out of a slump before having to play another important game, essentially. Okay. Yeah. So it's a good way to assess the depth of your team because you're not going to throw your top starters. Sometimes you'll throw your top relievers. We did this week. We threw Cole Kuntz and Anthony Prawn on Tuesday because we just kind of needed a win in one of these games, like I said earlier, because we've been losing to so many teams that, like I said, on paper are worse than us. So it's a good chance to assess your depth and kind of evaluate your trust index as you head toward the Missouri Valley Conference tournament.
It's like a momentum boost almost, in a way,
yes.
Heading into the next weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I suppose that does it for Dogs of the Vet. Let's move on. Me and Jay Cruz got to talk some NBA playoffs.
That we do.
Jay Cruz.
What's up, bro?
We've had a packed NBA playoffs.
Extremely.
Already.
Extremely.
We've seen the emergence of Anthony Edwards as a true, this guy could be a face of the league. Tyrese Maxey going absolutely buck wild. Logo 3 to tie the game. let's give it update for the people at home. By the time of filming this,
Yep.
we have. I'm going to start with the 1 and 8. Thunder and Pelicans. I had predicted the Thunder. Thunder won the series.
Yep.
4 and 5 is the Mavericks and Clippers. I have predicted the Mavericks. Mavericks are up 3-2. We have the 3 and 6. I predicted the Timberwolves. Timberwolves swept 4-0.
Oh yeah.
We had 2 and 7 Nuggets and Lakers. I had predicted the Nuggets. Nuggets won 4-1.
Yep.
Let's move on to the East. Celtics versus Heat. I chose Celtics. Celtics won 4-1. We have Cavs and Magic.
Yep. You chose the Cavs.
I chose the Cavs. Cavs are up 3-2.
Yep.
Then we have the Pacers and Bucks. I chose the Bucks. Pacers are up
3-2.
3-2.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have
Knicks Sixers.
Knicks and Sixers. I chose Knicks 3-2.
3-2.
Knicks are up 3-2.
Yes.
Specify. So my predictions are looking pretty good right now,
Pretty darn good.
I'd say. I think my favorite things that have happened, Anthony Edwards, man. I think he's, people talk, they've been throwing out Michael Jordan, they've been throwing out Kobe.
Oh man.
I don't know if I want to go that crazy,
That's kind of crazy.
but he's extremely charismatic. I think he has, here's what I'm going to say that's going to kind of make people, ooh. He doesn't have the Kobe thing. Like, I don't think he's so hardworking. Because, that's all Kobe had. Like, Kobe was, well, it's not all Kobe had. I want to make sure that clear. He was also 6'7" and had elite athleticism.
Right.
But, he was the hardest working, balls to the wall, like, all 24 hours of the day. To me, he's got a lot of Mike in him. He's got a lot of Jordan.
Mike Jordan.
Where he seems like a carefree guy. One thing that stuck out to me in the Last Dance documentary that I always look back on, just because I try to apply it to my own life, but they talk about it and they said Michael Jordan, it's his coach or somebody said Michael Jordan was always present. Wasn't worried about the past, wasn't worried about the future. He was always present. And I try to be present.
Yeah.
I try and think of that when I'm stressed out about the future, about the past, whatever happened. And I see a lot of that in Anthony Edwards. That next level confidence, that kind of ease that he feels is very Mike reminiscent. So I'm a big Anthony Edwards fan. I have been. I think he is a really, really good candidate for next face of the league. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think
agree with that.
He's so charismatic, so fun. Unfortunately, here's the reality, guys. I hate to put it out there. It's got to be an American guy. If it's an American league, I think this though. Like, do you think the face of the league could be Shohei Ohtani in the MLB?
I mean, it is.
But is he the face?
He's the face. He's not the voice.
Okay,
Pretty
kind of sure.
I mean, well, he can't speak English, so you can't be the.
Well, I know, but I think I don't think that he has like that crazy of a presence over MLB. Like, I know he puts up the numbers. I know he's the best player. I know all that stuff.
Well, who does then? Who is the face of the MLB?
I guess I'd argue somebody like Bryce Harper, who's been around for a while.
No.
A lot of people know Bryce Harper. I mean, I know maybe it's not, but like.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Right. I think in most cases, it's got to be an American guy. Not due to hate, because obviously Jokic is the best player in the league. Wembanyama will probably be the best player in the league here soon. But I don't know. There's just something about, like, when it comes to commercialism and like growing the sport, and like who you want to look at as face, what we use as the face, which in a lot of cases can be the voice. I think Anthony Edwards has that capability. For the next Sixers, Joel Embiid does not look okay at all.
No.
Like, Joel, even if they make it through the Knicks, I do not have high hopes against even the Pacers. If the Bucks somehow get Giannis and Dame back, if they somehow survive, like, for Sixers fans that are hoping for a title, it's just not happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's really sad.
It is really sad. Jokic trounces the Lakers yet again. Kind of saw that one coming. Cavs and Magic. I didn't know this series was going to be this good. I thought the Cavs would handle them pretty readily. I mean, it looked like that 2 games in. But Paolo Banchero's been playing out of his mind. Franz Wagner has kind of gotten out of his end-of-season slump real quick. I've been really, really impressed with the Magic squad and their defensive versatility. We knew that going in, but, I mean, they're holding these games to – I mean, these are like 2024 NBA playoff games that are finishing 98 to 97.
Right.
You know, like it's crazy. Jay Cruz, is there anything more that you'd like me to elaborate on?
I have a few questions for you.
I love it.
As I like to do, I like asking Cole questions about certain topics in the NBA. There's so many storylines. I mean, there's so many different questions I could ask you, but we could probably do a 3-hour-long pod about it. But I have 3 for you here. The first question, and this is probably the most boring because I feel like there's an easy answer to this, or maybe it's not. I'm not sure. How does anyone in the East beat Boston? Like, how is it going to happen? I don't foresee any team. I don't know if I see any team getting it to 6 games, let alone beating them. I mean, if it can happen, how does it happen?
I think it is far more realistic than what we believe.
Okay.
So we saw Kristaps Porzingis tweak his ankle.
Which is a big deal.
It's a big deal because without him, their next 5 spot is Luke Cornett. Okay, and Luke Cornett's actually a relatively underrated guy. I do not have that much trust in Mazzulla's coaching. I got to be honest. With Porzingis out, you get nervous about that 5 spot. Here's what I would have to say, and I can't believe I'm even saying this. But if the Magic squeak by the Cavaliers, I think there is a more real chance. Like the Magic, I think the Magic and the Knicks are both a very good matchup for the Celtics. I believe that because
in terms of
defensive versatility. Now here's the thing: the Celtics are just so good.
Yeah.
Like it would take a 7-game series to beat either one of them. But you know, this Celtics team, they're still relatively undisciplined. I could see Jason Tatum tweaking an ankle, being hobbled a little bit, or Jaylen Brown is out for 2 games or something. He hurts his hamstring, hurts a groin. You know, Drew Holiday. Like if they have one of those guys, I mean, Derek White usually doesn't get hurt, so he'll probably stay. And they have so many guys they can just throw at you. Of course, it would take a 7-game series to beat them, but I think the Magic would push them to 6-game series, and I think the Knicks, if they stay healthy, I'm interested to see how that one works out because this Celtics squad, I mean, New York, if New York can have, you know, Philly, Wells Fargo Arena in Philly going, let's go Knicks.
Yeah.
I promise you they can do it.
That was pretty cool.
I promise you they can do it in Boston. I promise you. You know, Boston's just as strong of a sports fan as Philly is.
Right.
But, like, New York is New York. And I think there's a real possibility that Boston might not be. I worry about injuries. I worry about injuries with this squad.
Next question.
Please.
Will this upcoming T-Wolves versus Nuggets series be the best series we see all playoffs? Now, I'm not saying that it's automatically going to go 7 games because sometimes a 7-game series in terms of a watchability standpoint isn't necessarily the best. Like this Cavs Magic series. Mm-hmm. If that goes 7, you know, it's a great series, but from a watchability standpoint, some pretty bad basketball has been played in that series. So will this T-Wolves Nuggets series, with all the storylines, with all the star power, be the best series we play we see all playoffs until potentially even the finals?
I am licking my chops, getting ready for this 2 and 3 matchup.
It's gonna be awesome.
Timberwolves and Nuggets.
It's gonna be so cool. It's
gonna be amazing. Like I said, the Anthony Edwards kind of mountain that's rising right now.
Right.
Jokic, best player in the world. I'll tell you what. Nuggets didn't look perfect against the Lakers now, didn't they? And Lakers have a lot of size. That's kind of their calling card.
Right.
Well, there's a team that's way bigger than the Lakers, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. I mean, this team defensively, my only worry with the Timberwolves is they got really lucky offensively in a lot of times in that Sun series. Jaden McDaniels going off for 25.
Right.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker going for like 21. There's going to be a day where Jaden McDaniels shoots 3 for 14, and everybody's like, and he's got that great defensive versatility. I think he's going to really, really put the clamps on Jamal Murray and make his life HE double hockey sticks.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I don't know who to pick in the series. I really don't. I think the Nuggets, they're proven, right? I mean, they're just a next-level team. Clutch time, they're going to get great shots. But here's the thing that's so crazy, and here's why I've become such a big Anthony Edwards guy recently. His decision-making late in games is severely underrated. He makes some next-level passes. He knows when to get rid of the ball, all that kind of stuff. A lot of times you'd see him, he's getting hot. He says, you know what? He kind of reverts back to Michigan State versus Georgia. You remember that classic game? Mm-hmm. He's like, I just got to take a whole bunch of threes. He'd pull up. He's not doing that anymore. He's taking good shots. He's got good versatility. Gun to my head, I don't want to have to pick because honestly, for fans at home, I don't know. All I'm gonna do is sit back at home, have my popcorn, and I'll be watching every game. If it goes 7, if it goes 4, I don't care. It's gonna be a great series no matter what.
It's gonna be amazing. Question number 3, my favorite topic in the NBA is to talk about when LeBron James loses a series. I went full Broseph Bernard on my Twitter the other night talking about LeBron James. Shout out Joey. Talking about LeBron and how there were so many times in that Game 5, and I'm not sure if you get to watch the whole thing, but I tuned in, and he would drive the lane, and if he didn't get a foul call, he would complain to the ref, and the Nuggets are like 5-on-4 every single time, easy bucket. I counted specifically 9 points in the third and fourth quarter, 9 free points that the Nuggets got solely because of LeBron complaining to the refs and giving them a 5-on-4. That's when Jamal Murray started going off, getting these easy layups. KCP hit a couple of threes as well. Mm-hmm. With that being said, enough LeBron hate. We have to kind of talk about a macro discussion, which is what do you make of the whole LeBron retirement thing? He was very vague, obviously, as most guys are at this point in their career, about what he's going to do next year. Will he even be on the Lakers if he plays at all? Where do you kind of stand on this whole thing? And then on top of that, he is still in pretty good shape as well. But does Darvin Ham, the guy who he's been crapped on all social media recently, does he deserve all the criticism he's getting as well?
So let's talk about the LeBron thing.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There is. So we'll talk about the LeBron thing. I'm with you, and I'm glad that the Nuggets are a team that's smart enough to take advantage of the situation, right? Because he does. LeBron will just give teams free points. That's not just LeBron. I want to make that clear. It's not just LeBron. It's guys like Trae Young.
Right.
Even Jalen Brunson's guilty of it, who I'm a big fan of. Like Jason Tate. Like a lot of people love to do the refs. Luka's a big one where he loves to give the look back at the ref. Like, come on, man. But I love that the Nuggets are a team that's smart enough to, hey, we see a guy throwing his arms up. Yeah. Push the ball. Let's get some movement going. That's not the reason they won the series, but I love to see that out of the Nuggets because it's probably come playoff time. Anthony Edwards probably is going to be doing that. He's got to run back on defense.
Exactly.
LeBron is still in great physical shape. I think the whole playing with the sun thing is real, obviously, and Bronny is extremely lucky coming out of this year's draft class because, as I've mentioned a multitude of times on this draft class, on this podcast about this draft class, this draft class is just horrible. And if you have a second-round pick in the 45, 55, you can talk yourselves into, listen, we'll draft this kid. We have a chance LeBron's coming. Mm-hmm. This kid, you could even say, even if LeBron doesn't come to your team, you can at least say, oh, well, he was a top 20 5-star prospect in high school.
Right.
Like we should have known. Mm-hmm. We took a chance on a guy that could be good defensively, all that stuff. I think a team like, it won't be the Celtics because LeBron hates Boston, so they would never do it. But like Thunder, somebody like Timberwolves, probably not Timberwolves. LeBron doesn't really fit their system at all. No. But just one of those better teams that are like, I kind of want to take this to the next level here.
Right.
They might take a flyer on his kid. I think they will take a flyer on his kid. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think it's bad business.
Right.
Because there's 100 guys that get taken in these drafts that just don't work out.
Right.
So why not be like, we'll probably get LeBron out of it. And then to talk about the Darvin Ham thing, because I don't think LeBron's retiring. I want to make that clear. I don't think he is. I think his son comes out. If his son goes back to school and doesn't get drafted, I could see LeBron doing the let me retire for a year, then come back fully healthy kind of deal, stay in shape, and then come back to play with his son. The Darvin Ham thing, I think he gets a lot more than he probably deserves. I don't think he's not one of the 10, 15, even 18 best coaches, but
Right.
I mean, serviceable. This is an old squad. This is an injury-ridden squad. They find themselves in the playoffs a lot.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron isn't the same player he used to be. You're not going to be top 6 anymore.
Right.
The fact that they got 7 is kind of nice. I think this Lakers team shows a lot of resilience. I think he's bad at calling timeouts. Like you said, they'll just gain momentum. They'll get those easy layups, and now it's like, why didn't Darvin call a timeout after the second easy layup? They're just letting all this stuff go by. But at the end of the day, what, LeBron, you're like a year or 2 out from retiring. Like, are you going to fire another guy and then bring in, Mike D'Antoni or one of these guys? I just don't see it. I think Darvin stays because I think he's likable enough with this squad.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. As you were talking, I was sort of just doing a little Googling about, Bronny's future, and because it was looking like he was going to go to Duquesne for a while, because I guess there's some sort of connection there. I forget who it is.
LeBron's point guard or shooting guard in high school is now the head coach at Duquesne.
But obviously that's not going to happen anymore. Teams are, going to have the debate over the next couple of months. Well, do we just draft Bronny and just accept that we're going to get a bunch of fans of the games and not really worry about team performance? And maybe he'll probably end up going to a good team anyway if he's going back half of the second round. Yeah. That's typically where the good teams are. So
100%.
I don't know. That's all I got, Cole Daly.
I'll put it out there while on the Bronny subject. Mm-hmm. If he wants to come back to school, Duke would welcome him with open arms.
I would.
As our backup point guard?
I think Duke's rivals would love to have to face Bronny James at Duke. Yes, I think UNC RJ Davis, who's coming back for some stupid reason to UNC,
because every college player gets 8 years now.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, but he would have a field day on Bronny James.
I think Bronny James has real defensive versatility. His scoring, I don't think he'll ever, even if he makes it in the NBA or whatever, I don't think he'll ever even average 8 points a game.
He'll be like Caruso.
Yeah.
Or Pat Bev.
I mean, he's athletic enough.
Yeah.
He can get some rebounds. He can dish out a little bit. Nothing's outstanding except for his defense.
Right.
I think best case, he's like Javon Carter. But hey, I'd love that as our backup.
Yeah, Javon Carter.
Come off the bench, grow.
Javon
Maybe
Carter's
stays
nice.
until he's a senior. His dad retires for 2 years. Bronny, come to Duke. We know you watch the show. Please come to Duke. We take him. Open arms. Now, it's time that I get off the show and welcome Joey B on so you guys can talk about some MLB.
It's gone.
For the last time, this is the MLB segment of the Inside Sports Podcast. I'm going to try to... I missed it. Cole Daly could
I'm
get
2
it.
for 2 on homers.
Yeah. Cole Daly could get it. I couldn't get it. Let's dive into some MLB. Now, I usually talk about 3 separate teams then as well as our Chicago Cubs. And there's been an ongoing trend, I guess, with these 3 teams that I talk about, right? 2 of them are usually on the better side, I guess, have been better recently. One of them I would call hot, and the other one is on a hot streak starting, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And then the third one is in the dumps.
Yeah.
And I usually like starting with the team that's been hot. And the team that's been hot lately this week, the Boston Red Sox. Man, they tore down our Cubbies 17-1 in one of those games.
That was brutal.
Took a series win against us. That third game went into extra innings. But man, is it too early to say that they're good? They're a good team. They've been riddled by a bunch of injuries.
Yeah, they have.
And all those guys that have stepped up have been able to do it for them.
Yeah.
I was actually watching the game it was a couple weeks ago. Trevor Story tore his shoulder out of his socket. I think that's what it was.
Yep.
He'll be out for 60 days. He's on the 60-day IL along with Lucas Giolito. Masataka Yoshida, the huge rookie from last season that was outstanding for them, he's out at least for, I think he's on the 60-day IL. Could be 15 though. And then Liam Hendricks, I know he's on the 15-day IL. So all four of those guys are at different positions on that team, whether it's the starting rotation, whether it's the bullpen, whether it's their lineup. Just every aspect of that team is injury riddled, and yet they're still able to do it. They took a series against the Cubbies, so I think is a top tier team in this league right now. But it's been about their pitching. Yep. Their pitching has carried them, right? I loved I hated when Tanner Houck,
I think so.
I think that's how you say it. He grinded up our Cubs lineup.
Yep.
Pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Him and Cutter Crawford have also, led this team to leading the league in ERA, which is pretty surprising considering all the injuries that they've had. So, they've had some offensive studs just come out too. Tyler O'Neill, I saw a post on Jay Cruz's private story about Tyler O'Neill. Stud. A real stud this year. And then as well as their catcher Connor Wong. He's been out doing it this season. So those guys have really stepped up for this team. What do you think about the Boston Red Sox?
No, they're very, very impressive. And, you mentioned all the guys that have been good for them. In that Sunday game in particular, when Tanner Houck was on the mound, I mean, he was just lethal everywhere. Connor Wong has been one of the best catchers in the American League this season. I don't think that's something that people really saw coming. We were able to get to Cutter Crawford in that first Friday game, but overall he's still been amazing. I do worry that guys like him and Crawford, who are still pretty young, are probably going to get figured out, and I think we saw a little bit of a warning sign when the Cubs were able to do what they did to Cutter Crawford on Friday. But if they can continue this, they're going to stay in that wild card-ish race. I don't really see them competing for the division. I think that's pretty much the Yankees and the Orioles have sort of separated themselves there. But yeah, they're a good team with a lot of talent, but with all these injuries, and the injuries are tough. But again, I look at guys like Giolito, Story, and Hendricks in particular. They haven't been themselves in a long time, and I'm not really sure they're missing all that much considering how bad Giolito was towards the end of last year.
Yeah, that's
Story
fair.
hasn't really been himself since his rookie season, really, in Colorado. And then, of course, Liam Hendricks had to deal with all those health problems. He was a cancer survivor at this point. So it's a great story, but we're talking about baseball performance on the field.
This is true.
I'm just not sure that he'll be able to get back to his once star self. And so, again, I don't know that their injuries are as detrimental as you would think on paper. I think they're working really well with what they've got right now, and they're truly maximizing the best of themselves.
I just think it's impressive they've been able to keep up in this type of division too.
Yeah.
Every team in that division, I think, is very, very impressive, and we'll get to another one in this division later. But man, the Giolito thing is interesting too because there's a lot of truth to that. I think just him when he does come back, of course he's going to be added depth to that rotation that's already amazing. Probably won't be able to keep up this type of performance for the long stretch of the season unless Cutter Crawford really is that guy. And Tanner Houck, I think he could be, but Cutter Crawford has, I think, been outdoing him lately to start the season. But I guess we'll just have to see. One other guy I just wanted to shout out, Zach Short. I listen to the Compound Podcast. Do you listen to the Compound?
I do not listen to the Compound Podcast.
It's very interesting, actually. He just got picked up by the Red Sox, so
good for him.
He could be added depth on their infield. Now, team number 2, the Oakland Athletics.
Oh
They've been on one.
What a story.
They've been on one recently.
What
It's
a story.
crazy to even be like that. I'm even talking about them in general because like I could talk about them as the team that's just been stinking, but like it would be kind of a given, and it'd almost be kind of boring to talk about in the hypothetical scenario that they were the stinking team. These are not your dad's Oakland Athletics.
No, they're not.
They got some fight to them. They just split a series against the Yankees last week. They took a series against the Orioles. How about that? They're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they just swept the Pirates, who, I mean, neither one of them, they've been really, really atrocious lately.
Yes.
I thought they were going to fall off eventually.
What, bro?
Go ahead.
Do they have guys that get on base?
The Athletics?
Yeah.
I think so.
He gets on base.
Yeah.
Moneyball, ref.
Moneyball.
It's kind of working right now.
Well, the thing that has been working for them has been their bullpen, specifically. Yeah. Mason Miller will be the next great closer in this league. Sadly, he's probably not going to remain with the Athletics if he keeps at it. Yeah. He'll probably get signed to a big league club like the Yankees or something like that. Or really any
Cubs.
Could
Sorry,
be. Maybe at the trade deadline.
Really
Maybe at the trade deadline, we'll see. No, I've been really impressed by him. I watched really randomly. I watched an Athletics Red Sox game actually, back in early. I guess it is May now, so it was early April, and the Red Sox were traveling to Oakland, and Mason Miller was closing it out in the 11th. And man, he was hitting like 103, 102. And then he had like a slider that was also at like 89. I was like, man, The Cubs really could use a guy like that.
Yeah.
Some guy that can hit triple digits on that radar gun. So he's been massive for them as well as the rest of their guys in their bullpen. And then I just want to talk about like more on the bullpen too, I guess. We don't have this as Cub fans, but like I just think the experience having a lockdown bullpen as like a fan of a team with a lockdown bullpen is like such a different experience than having one without.
Yeah.
Like the feeling that once you get a lead and once your starter goes out, that 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to hang on to that lead. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
And I would love that as a Cubs fan to be able to have that.
Absolutely.
Did you just have anything else to say about the Athletics?
The Mason Miller thing is such a great story, but like you said, the odds of him being in an Athletics uniform, maybe even at the trade deadline, are not very likely. I will say, though, and if I am the Athletics, I'm going to make whatever team wants to trade for him give me the biggest bag possible, because this guy is generational. At least that's the way he looks right now. Yeah. Throwing 104 on the regular, he just seems like he's just different. He's one of these superstar guys. So if they do decide to trade him and weaken their bullpen, unfortunately, they're going to need the biggest prospect package you've ever seen. So it is sad, but like you said, I mean, this bullpen's been impressive. Their starting pitching isn't terrible either. Guys like Alex Wood, who's been around for a while, I mean, his ERA is pretty high, but at least you've got that sort of experience. Paul Blackburn, Ross Stripling, J.P. Sears, these are guys that have been around for a while and been good for a few years now. So from a pitching standpoint, they're doing an excellent job, and this last week especially, they've been doing it against some of the best teams in baseball. The Yankees, Orioles, been very, very impressive to watch them.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look at their schedule upcoming. They have they're starting a series against the Marlins. So I mean, hopefully it's a series win.
They could very well
for them.
Win that series.
And then we're gonna really see it here. When they face more of their divisional opponents, like the Rangers and the Mariners, and then they'll face the Astros in the coming weeks as well. So we'll see if they can really hold it down then. And maybe by May 20th, we'll have a real answer on, hey, maybe the Athletics can make a run at it.
Sneak around a little bit.
Yeah, just sneak around, make some fun. Granted, all this is to say that I don't really believe in them as like a playoff team.
No.
I'm not saying that. It's just entertaining, to say the least.
Yes.
To know that the Athletics are in the mix and their season isn't already over on May 2nd as the time of this podcast. Now, the third team I want to talk about, and it's kind of just a mystery to me. So maybe Jay Cruz might have an insight, but the Tampa Bay Rays, what has happened? What's happened to them? Last year we were talking about how historic of a start it was, and they were hitting so many home runs. It was a historic start in terms of home run hitting for them, and we thought that they were going to be around the rest of the season. Well, they ended up losing their first series in the playoffs. I don't think they ended up winning the series.
They lost 2-0 to the Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers. There's such a wild team to me. They swing and miss at a lot of they strike out a lot. They don't walk a lot. They just go for the home run ball so much. I think that's kind of the root of their problem. Their injuries have also been, a huge reason why, especially in their rotation. I think they have like 4 or 5 listed starters actually out. So they're pretty much down to their AAA team in terms of starters right now. But we were just talking about the Red Sox. They're mangled with injuries and they're getting by. So I don't think that's an excuse in today's MLB when you can see it getting done by other teams. But Jay Cruz, how did it get to this point with the Tampa Bay Rays?
Yeah, I think they have been disproportionately involved in their young star studs, MVP-like players, / Cy Young guys like Shane McClanahan, and obviously you talk about the whole Wander Franco situation. Yeah. I mean, they were planning on him being their shortstop forever, essentially, and so that opened up a hole, and they found a way to fill it for the time being. But there's not too many Wander Francos from a baseball standpoint lying around anywhere. There aren't too many Shane McClanahans, and no Shane Bazes either. So they've really had to patch together sort of a nice roster here. And I don't look at their lineup and I'm like, well, this team just stinks on paper. No, they don't. I mean, they have guys that have performed a lot at the major league level. I think losing Brandon Lau as well hurt them. A nice steadier in the middle of that lineup. Only played 8 games this season. So they just need to find a way to settle themselves. And Randy Rose ran it too, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's been awful.
Really awful.
Awful. He's hitting 139 this season.
Yeah, and
that is despicably
atrocious.
terrible.
And I mean, not as bad as Randy Arozarena, but even like Yandy Diaz, they were probably hoping that he was going to break out this year once again. Yeah. And he's not even getting on base really. No. His on base is 279 this year. He's not even slugging. He's slugging .555 right now. Atrocious. Yeah. So they're just not getting it done. And it starts with their huge stars. I just think they're going to get lost in this division that they're in with, I'm blanking on everyone in it. So it's the Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox. Who am I missing?
Blue Jays.
I think they're just going to be the odd man out in this division. Sadly enough to say, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, recency bias is everything, right? I'm trying to think in the bigger picture, but could you see them finishing in 5th place in this division?
Yeah, they'd probably almost have a winning record too.
Yeah.
But they would still finish last.
Yeah. And I think, is the AL East, let's look at I want to look at the standings here, but is the AL East the only division with 4 teams over 500? Is there truth to that?
That would probably, that sounds about right.
I believe that's probably, no, they have 3 teams. The Blue Jays are at 15 and 17, Rays are at 14 and 18.
Actually, the AL Central has 4 teams.
That's
over
funny
500.
enough. That's really funny. And then you got the lowly White Sox down there at 5th, who are, what is that, 11 and a half games behind 4th place.
Sheesh.
That is crazy. So Tampa Bay Rays suck this year. Really bad. And I don't know if they're going to be able to climb out of it. Our Cubbies, though, they're hot. Mm-hmm. They're hot. They just won a game last night. They snuck out of one against those New York Mets. Second game in this series that they kind of snuck one out, in which you wouldn't have thought that they were going to, earn a W by the time the 5th inning arrived. Ian Happ's great play. He made 2 terrific catches. And that double play to finish off the game. But No, just they have been able to win a lot in a lot of different ways this season, whether it's their pitching, whether it's their offense. But lately, specifically this week, though, the offense needs to get it back together, right?
I agree.
I understand that, we've been facing the Mets. Their pitching staff has been very, very good this year, right? And then we just talked about the Boston Red Sox. We ran into them this past weekend. It's been a little bit of a buzzsaw this past couple series, but I'd like to think that it's going to get better in the next couple weeks. We got a huge series this weekend against the Brewers. I will be in attendance with my girlfriend on Saturday.
Great news.
I believe it's Jameson Taillon is pitching, and I couldn't tell you who the Brewers starter will be that day because I think it was supposed to be Peralta,
He
but
got suspended.
So I think it's delayed a game. He might be pitching Sunday now. I'd have to check. But no, that's going to be a huge series. And one that probably defines how the rest of the season. I mean, of course, we're going to have to play the Brewers again. But just defines how this battle is going to go with the Brewers because it's going to be I feel like it's going to be a two-team race at this point now. Sadly, my Cincinnati Reds pick from the preseason is probably not going to play out. I don't think their play has been showing enough of being able to keep up with that top part of the division. Now it's still very early, but it's not showing of them for a division title. What are you thinking of this series? I guess what are you expecting is going to happen?
Yeah,
in
it's
this series?
huge, but the way that the offense has been not hitting lately is concerning. But again, with teams, a lot of teams across the league are dealing with injuries, and we just happen to have injuries to quite literally our four most important players: Justin Steele, Julian Merriweather, Cody Bellinger, and Seiya Suzuki. And losing Bellinger and Suzuki, I think on paper doesn't seem bad because we do have a good lineup. But what makes our lineup so good is when fully healthy, where these guys are positioned in the lineup is just as important to them being individually good as players. Having Ian Happ lead off as opposed to hitting third, drastically different story because he takes walks and gets on base. It has been a little disappointing that he has pretty much lost his power. It seems like he doesn't hit bombs anymore. He just doesn't. He gets on base a lot, and he had a good season last year, but the power has completely dissipated. He doesn't hit for a high average anymore. So really the only place where he's kind of valuable is at the top of the lineup. You can't really expect him to slug, and he's been put in that 3-hole, and it hasn't really worked out so far.
I like the idea of having a switch hitter at leadoff as well.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a huge asset to be able to start off a game. Whether you have a right-handed pitcher on the mound or a left-handed pitcher on the mound, that if Ian Happ's going to be there, he'll be able to adjust accordingly. We were talking, just a couple days ago about the top 5 Cubs hitters, and Swanson was the one that we were, kind of debating about, if he belongs in that top 5 conversation. I think I'd like to see a bit more of a bat from him. It's kind of crazy how much we paid, how long of a contract we actually paid for him and how much money we're paying for him, and he's the 5-hole hitter. Yeah. So, were we thinking when we signed him, are we paying him for a bat that's going to not make the huge mistake, come up big when we need him to,
right?
Timely hitting specifically, and then be an excellent fielder? Was that our idea?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, simple answer, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly what we paid for. Yeah. He didn't really get paid like a guy who's supposed to be your 3 or 4 hitter. I think he's been what we paid him for, but I think we were all expecting him to maybe be a little bit more than that. It's $7,177, I believe, is the contract. If that's what you're looking at.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not bad at all.
I thought
it seems big.
For some reason, I thought it was like mid, 200s or something. I don't know.
No, we would never give out the Cubs would never give out a contract more than what they gave Jason Hayward.
Yeah,
I think Jed's scarred from that.
Probably. But yeah, no. This the injuries have really kind of riddled this team. Lately, I think we're just starting to see the effects. Hopefully, they come back soon here. This bullpen situation will be another interesting one. It's been an ongoing situation the past couple weeks.
You would figure the way things are going right now, we have to trade for somebody at the deadline, right?
Mason Miller.
This is not sustainable, what we're doing. Like,
It's
Hector
not.
Neris is racking up all these saves lately. On paper, it looks good, but there's always a guy on third.
Ian Happ saved his butt once again.
He did.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness, from another blown save of this Cubs team. And I think they had a man on second and third, and we were only up by one. So
Yep.
yeah, that would have been I guess it would have been a sac fly to tie the game, and then there would have been 2 outs. So I guess he would have had a chance to strike out the next batter, and then send it into extras. But is it a blown save if you don't lose the game? If you just give up the
Yeah, it's a
tying
blown
run?
save if you don't win the game,
Okay.
like, immediately.
Yeah. And I think didn't Alzolay got teed off again the other night, but
Yes,
it wasn't in the closing situation.
No, it was in, I believe, the 6th or 7th inning. I feel like he needs to go to AAA.
Yeah.
Because
he has to.
every single time he comes in, he's giving up bombs.
I don't know why. I mean, he has to just get his confidence back.
No, all
Like,
3 of those runs were unearned, which is another topic. I think our infield defense has been bad this year. Even Dansby's been bad. Even Nico's been bad. Now, not really Nico. He's kind of fixed himself. But the Dansby thing is interesting because almost all of his errors come on when his throws are like just short, and that's bad. That is bad on him. But I don't know that Michael Busch is the answer from a fielding perspective at first base anymore, because he's whiffing on a lot of the, as a first baseman, especially if you're at the major league level, you practice with these guys every single day. You should be able to pick at least 75% of the balls that are thrown to you, and it seems like Michael Busch has a huge issue with that.
Yeah.
Again, it's not saying that Swanson shouldn't be able to just get it there himself, but it does seem like Busch is biting off a little bit more than he can chew there. He's also not a natural first baseman, though, and so I don't really blame him from that standpoint, but that's where he has to play if he wants to get playing time, because then Greg Counsell has an impossible situation on his hands, because I believe he's a natural second baseman or third
Oh,
baseman,
really?
if that's, yeah.
I
Yeah, he's
wouldn't
not a
have
natural
guessed.
first baseman.
I wouldn't have guessed,
Yeah.
really. I just don't really feel like he's that athletic to play second base, I guess, or a shortstop even.
I don't know.
I mean, you said he's mostly second base, but
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully this team can figure it out on offense lately. Did you have anything else you just wanted to say?
No, I don't think so. We just need Bellinger and Suzuki back, and I think this team, sky's the limit for this team when they come back. Because again, because of the way that the order changes when they're in, I do think that they can make a 4 or 5 run difference in the game. Not solely because of them, but because of the way that they can set the rest of this lineup up. One shout out needs to go to the guy who he's been our 3rd best offensive player, and sometimes one of our best fielders as well, since he came up from the minor leagues last year. Shout out to Mike Talkman. This guy,
yeah.
he's hitting over 300 now in the season.
I keep forgetting to bring him up.
He's hitting over 300 now in the season, and he's taking his walks. I mean, this guy's been the MVP for the last calendar year of Cubs baseball.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, shout out Mike.
He's a top 3 hitter, top 2 hitter right now on the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably our best right now.
Well, current
Of the guys who are not hurt. Yeah.
Yes.
He's been our best player overall.
I totally agree. I don't know why I keep forgetting to bring him up as like a Cub star, but he really has. He needs his flowers. He really has been the star of this team the past calendar year.
Yep.
Yeah. I hope that he can just keep on this run, though. Is it sustainable? I guess we'll have to see.
That we will.
Well, all right. That was MLB. We're going to get into our thoughts on the NFL draft. It was a very eventful
Extremely.
NFL draft.
That it was. Well, guys, one of the most entertaining first rounds in the NFL draft happened last week, and I don't think we should waste any time. Let's just jump right into it, okay?
Please.
Let's just jump into the first round. Let's get a quick overview. There was really only 1 or 2 picks that were shocking. Everything else kind of made sense, right? And I think from a league standpoint, that's what we want to see ultimately, and I think it'll make for the best season coming up in 2024. started off, of course, with Caleb Williams. No surprises there. People were quick to hate on the man. I don't blame them. I can see why.
Bears.
He also invented the bear claw as like the thing that bear fans do. People are gonna hate on that very, very quickly as well.
But
I mean, as soon as
it's cool.
it is kind of cool, and like
I don't know why. I saw somebody talk about why was that not a thing?
yeah, I don't know.
Why not? It makes sense.
We've been a cringe organization for a long time, and I think
Caleb
Caleb is trying to make us cool. So I think he's doing all right. And then, of course, they drafted his best buddy, Roma Dunze, after. Apparently, that's been in the works for a long time. Apparently, that was a 5 months thing. Like, Caleb told the Bears, you draft me, but you really need to get Roma Dunze. And that's a guy who a lot of people said was the best wide receiver in this draft. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but if they have a good connection, I'm all for it. So before we get to the scandalous stuff, I guess, let me check in with you guys. My best buddies over here. Because really my draft, well, not like...
I see. Sorry.
The Antonio Brown stuff is getting to our head.
I was going to
I
say.
think we all have CTE.
You're looking at CTESPN.
Let me check with you guys real quick because you guys had picks toward the latter half of the first round. So I want to get more of an overall draft recap from you guys because my draft pretty much ended at the 9th pick. I mean, I think we made some good selections after that. But let me talk about you guys because you guys have better teams, less holes to fill. What did you think of the way that you guys tried to piece together your draft? The Packers had a lot of picks as well, so
yeah, we did have a lot of picks. I just thought we would have just kept a lot of them. There were 2 times, I think it was in the 4th and 5th round, where we traded another one of our later picks from like the 6th and 7th just to move up like I think 10 or 15 spots to draft a guy. And I like that we filled, a lot of our linebacker holes. We got one in the 2nd round and one in the 4th round. I just think the 1st round just really shocked me. The Lions moving up.
No, don't talk about my team. Talk about your team.
It killed us.
Talk about your team first.
It killed us. It killed us. And I really wanted to get a defensive back early on, and they proved that, I guess, we must have a lot of faith in Eric Stokes coming back and being fine because we didn't even get a defensive back until the 7th round. And oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He's from Penn State, I think. King.
Oh, Kalen King, which I think that's just kind of a steal to get him in the 7th round.
That's
in the 7th round. Yeah.
7th round.
Wow.
That's what I've
to
heard.
get a guy like him in the 7th round is kind of pretty good.
Really?
I'm trying to not specifically.
It's better than that. Sorry, I
Yeah,
know we
so
keep.
much better.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
But
So much better.
I'm trying to not overstate how great of a pick that is. Apparently, because from what I've seen, he was supposed to be like a 1st round, 2nd round type pick last year at this time.
Yeah.
He was projected. So yeah, we got him in the 7th. That's a high value for a pick like that.
Yeah.
But man, I thought we would have attacked that a bit more, considering Eric Stokes' injury history. We went with offensive lineman Jordan Morgan from Arizona. I don't think he was top 5 in a lot of people's prospect rankings. It's such a Packers pick, dude. It's such a Packers pick to stay where they're at and go with a solid offensive lineman that I'm assuming they just really, really liked him. I thought they were going to go with one of the bigger names like Troy Fautanu or somebody else like that. He was off the board by 25. I thought they were going to trade up and gets somebody that they really liked. I almost would have liked this pick better if they just traded up to get somebody that would have been better on the prospect ranking for an offensive lineman. But they didn't do that. They stuck with it. They must really like Jordan Morgan. I like the idea that they're making sure that they're going to protect Jordan Love. But I mean, he's not going to start this year, so I don't know.
Well, not.
Go ahead. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I'm very excited. Last year's draft put me into a little bit of a tailspin.
Yeah.
Didn't love the whole Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell combo 1st round. We're going to go middle linebacker with the 17th pick is what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. But honestly, our 2nd round picks were the ones that really, absolute home runs. Sam Laporta, best tight end in the league.
Right.
And I'm being satirical, by the way, but I do think he's probably top 3.
I mean, he's up there.
Yeah. And then
My bad.
you're good. And then Brian Branch, who else has been pretty key for us. Now, we got two of my favorite 4 cornerbacks in this draft. Terrion Arnold, who was my 2. He might have been number 1 on my rankings that I put up on my Twitter, but I think Quinyon Mitchell, especially with the Eagles fit.
Oh yeah.
I feel like, he's everything you want in a corner.
Nasty.
But I love Terrion Arnold. I think he totally fits this team perfectly. Tough, go-getter. I mean, when they do screens against Bama, he'd always wiggle around the defender. I love that he was a guy, 5-star recruit, red shirts his freshman year, doesn't leave, stays at Bama, gets minimal minutes, stays again, now gets the starting role, was the best corner on the Bama team this year. Love guys like that. Dog, I don't care whether he's good or not. I'm still going to love him because of what he did at Bama, the kind of player he is. Big fan. Ennis Rakestraw, big fan. 4th round, we go offensive tackle. I love boosting our offensive tackle. I love when we draft O-line. Like any team, whenever they draft an O-lineman, I don't even care if they're good. I'm like, just do it. Because I think the successful teams just draft O-line until you get a really, really good O-line. But he's kind of a project. Canadian guy, British Columbia. We get Sion Vaki from Utah, who can also help our DBs. I think he's going to play more of the hybrid role that Kyle Hamilton does, where it's like, okay, I'm a linebacker, but I'm also kind of whatever. And then we went guard again with Boston College guard, who will probably be fine,
Sure.
Absolutely. I know we had a really successful year this last year, part in which due to Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, all these guys. I loved this year's draft. I think it is going to benefit us greatly. Very excited.
I would agree with you, Cole Daly. While we're at it, we're talking about first-round stuff. Let's get to who was our favorite pick at the first round of the NFL draft for any team. Could be anywhere. JB, you spearheaded this project, so do you have one in your mind that you want to go ahead and throw out there real quick for us?
I think he kind of stole it from me. Quinyon Mitchell, I think that fits a lot with Philly. I think that's a place that they're going to put a lot of emphasis on the defensive back development, and they also got Cooper DeJean in the second round too,
right,
who I wanted on Green Bay. But I just think that pairing those two stellar rookie defensive back stars, is going to be a nice fit in Philly. Their defense was already stout anyways. They're just going to be a lot better. So I love the Quinyon Mitchell pick.
I've got a couple, actually, or maybe even 3 or 4.
I knew that we'd have a couple.
Well, I've got a couple, and most of them are toward the back end of the first round. Dallas Turner falling to the Vikings at 17. I hate it because the Vikings are in our division.
Right.
But if Danielle Hunter is not going to be a Viking anymore, they replace him really quickly with Dallas Turner. I mean, that's a huge deal. Dallas Turner's going to be a stud. He was a guy that was supposed to be a top 10 pick. Well, most mock drafts had him going at 8 to the Atlanta Falcons, which we'll get to that in a second as well. I also love Jared Verse at 19 with Aaron Donald not being there anymore. They immediately replace him. I like teams that immediately try to replace their biggest need with the biggest hole that was left there. Aaron Donald's gone. Jared Verse, I think he's a really good player. Another guy who was in the top 10 in a lot of mock drafts as well. And finally, I'm not trolling, okay, I promise. When I say that Xavier Worthy is one of my favorite picks of the first round because he went to the Chiefs. Not because he's Xavier Worthy. There's a little bit of that baked in there as well, but mostly because he went to the Chiefs. He's going to be maximized to the fullest extent. Cole Daly, I know you hated the pick. You hated that Xavier Worthy went before A.D. Mitchell, because I also agree with you in thinking that Mitchell's a better receiver.
100%.
It's
But
the diabetes, apparently.
You had our director of player personnel had Xavier Worthy as a 4th round grade, and then he backtracked last week and said, well, maybe more of a 3rd round.
No, I had started at 5th.
Okay, jeez, okay. I didn't even realize it was 5th.
And I was like, I don't know. I don't remember anymore. Maybe it was 4th, and then he's 3rd.
Either way, you're not high on the guy.
I'm not high on him. I think he's fast, but I think he's little, and same stuff.
Do you think though that the fact that he's on the Chiefs is kind of sort of a cheat code for his career though?
No, I don't even.
Okay.
I'm not even positive because, he gets Mahomes, so like.
So you think he's going to be Mecole Hardman?
Yeah, but that's within the first round. I don't want Mecole Hardman. That's a 3rd round guy.
It's a good place for him to develop. in his
Yeah.
career.
Yeah, but when you have that first pick, let me get into mine.
Go
My
ahead,
favorite
just
picks. Because it
cleanse the
relates to this.
palate.
It relates to this.
Cleanse the palate, Cold.
So I'm gonna throw out a couple. So honestly, and I'm so happy that I get to say this, but my favorite pick of the first round was Terrion Arnold to the Lions. I think it's a perfect fit, both personality wise and scheme wise, and I can't believe how blessed I am to get to say that. To say that the favorite pick was actually I don't even know what compares.
You're right.
My favorite pick outside of that was Michael Penix of the Falcons, just because it's one of the dumbest decisions of all time. I couldn't stop laughing at the TV when I saw
It's
that.
the most entertaining thing.
Have we figured out, like, because we've had a week to think about this now, have you guys come up with a logical reason to take him yet? Like, sometimes, okay, JB.
I mean, it's very simple. I wouldn't overthink it. They think they're the Packers, and they're just going to do a Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers thing. But it still doesn't make sense in that aspect, in that, I mean, they just signed Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to do that with a 20-year-old veteran,
Right.
or a 20-year veteran on a team, and he's already kind of, like, putting his foot out the door,
Right.
you know. He's already kind of made that message, and we're like, okay, let's get a young guy. But everything I've heard about Michael Penix is that he's already old. He's 24.
He
and
won't. He probably
believe he's
wouldn't
24,
play
yeah.
until he's about 27.
Wouldn't this make more? It almost make. Would it make more sense if they would have gotten JJ McCarthy? Like, because isn't he 21?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
by the time Kirk is like done with his contract,
Yeah.
he'll be 26, 27.
So the thought process is, as I've had it explained, is you're probably going to be very good with Kirk Cousins
Right.
during this window of this, I don't know, just this Kirk Cousins
Right.
timeline, right? So if you're good, then you won't have a high draft pick. And if you don't have a high draft pick, then you don't want to use, because there's not good quarterbacks left at 20.
We'll
I mean, I
never
know
be-
guys take them back.
Yeah, we'll
and
never
Jordan
be-
Love, you go.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm pretty sure they said we'll never be back in this position again.
Right.
That's the thinking there.
The only, and yeah, and so what they want is, well, we're getting a first round grade guy right after. But there's two problems with that. One, as you mentioned, the old factor. Michael Penix just isn't a first round. He's not a top 10 quarterback. Like, it was a reach to begin with. He's old. He's hobbled. He's got those 2 ACL injuries. Like, that's not a guy I want at the 8 spot. You know what I mean? And two, you sacrifice the advantages of that rookie quarterback contract. I mean, it's literally a conversation we have every single year. That's why the Texans are all in. Let's
Right.
go. Get him good now. Why? Because he's on the rookie contract. You can
Exactly.
pay everybody else. You can't pay everybody else. I mean, unless you're Mahomes and, like, he's just going to elevate everybody else around him no matter what because he's one of the best ever
Mahomes,
players.
yeah.
But, like, I mean, the Bills on a decline now. Why? They got to pay Josh Allen. Bengals doesn't look as good. Like, you need to capitalize on that rookie contract, and they're gonna have 1 year left of that rookie contract. I mean, who happens if Kirk Cousins plays out his entire contract? He plays so good for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Michael Penix, what do? Do you sign him to $20 million a year? Like,
I don't
who
know.
wants to do that?
I said that the best scenario for the Falcons is that Kirk Cousins plays 9 games and gets hurt, and then you put in Penix this season so that you know whether or not Penix is actually good or not. So then you don't have to worry about potentially
Right.
paying him or not paying him. At least you have a plan. But if Kirk Cousins stays healthy, weirdly, that's the worst case scenario for the Falcons because you're not going to actually know if Michael Penix is good. And by the time Kirk Cousins is done, you're just hoping and praying that Michael Penix has developed by sitting and watching. But there's no Matt LaFleur leading that offense.
Right.
Another,
And-
So
go ahead.
You have to think culturally about Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is well known for being corny white guy. You know,
okay,
he's just kind of the corny guy in the room. Michael Penix is cool. Like, he's a cool guy. He's
yes,
rapping on the sideline.
Yeah.
Let's think of the last time that the Falcons had a black lefty quarterback. That's when they were like super successful.
They were really good.
I'm just saying, if Kirk Cousins struggles even a little bit, you're already going to have Atlanta going,
Right.
let's see the new guy. Let's see the new guy. Let's see the new guy. And that's another thing where that's just, you don't want organizational, I wouldn't say turmoil, but you're creating a problem for yourself when you could have just gotten one of the best edges in the entire draft in Dallas Turner or Leo Tulatu or Byron Murphy, Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold.
I mean,
there was still so many.
They'd be dark horse Super Bowl contenders if they would have made like the Dallas Turner pick.
Yeah, because he's real. I mean, I like Dallas Turner more than I like Will Anderson. I know that's not a popular opinion by most, but like that's who I like more. What were you gonna say, Joey?
I just wanted to talk about like the circumstances of Kirk Cousins right now. Like, there's so many directions I guess I want to go. Kirk signed, was it February, March?
Yeah.
Did they think about this then? Did they know that they were going to do this then? Is what I'm kind of just wondering, or was this kind of a spur of the moment? And if they did, they obviously didn't tell Kirk when they signed him. Or
well,
when
that's
they
the problem is you've already ticked off your franchise guy.
I mean, their agents. His agent has already came out and said they were livid as soon as the pick dropped.
Yeah.
So, I just feel for Kirk right now. It's terrible. And the huge difference. This was the other direction I wanted to go. The huge difference between this pick and what the Packers did with Jordan Love years ago is that the Packers, when they picked Jordan Love, they were coming off an NFC Championship appearance. This Falcons team is still. They finished 3rd or 4th last year.
Right, you need to boost your team.
You have to just figure it out and just like get to the playoffs first before you think about a new quarterback.
Right.
Or like a rookie quarterback.
Right.
If you already have Kirk, I mean. So,
I think we're all the consensus. It makes no sense.
Yeah. That makes no sense. I can't come up with any sort of logical explanation.
Right.
I mean, you can, and we've attempted to do that here, but how much mental gymnastics have we had to do to get there? You know what I mean?
And sometimes in life you just need to make it simple.
Exactly.
And there's nothing you can do. I want to talk 2 more things because I still had the other picks I wanted to mention really quickly. The Patriots did the right thing by sticking at 3 and drafting Drake May.
Yeah.
I wish another team got him because the Patriots are a crappy situation.
Right.
But I think Drake May's a really good quarterback. We do this every year where there's 2 guys. These guys are secure, definitely the number 1, number 2 picks for quarterback.
Right.
And then Justin Fields falls to 14. Drake May falls to 3.
Didn't
we
happen
talk
this
ourselves
year.
into other guys.
Yeah.
Well, but Jane Daniels, it did. Jane Daniels goes
No, I
up
meant
to
like
2.
in terms of guy that dropped.
Yeah, dropped. But I guess I'm saying, like, I think we're overcomplicating it, and I think Caleb Williams and Drake May are the 2 best quarterbacks in this class.
I would probably agree.
Undoubtedly, we're just doing the Jane Daniels thing because we want to. And then Keon Coleman to the Bills was a home run. I thought that was a really, really good pick. I think he's going to immediately, like Josh Allen, who already throws like a wild ball to begin with. Like, Keon Coleman's going to have some incredible, amazing catches to start his career. And I'm very emphatic about the pick.
Yes, you are. All right. Before we move on to our little special game show that I have planned for us today, I hinted it to you guys earlier this week. It's going to be pretty cool. But I do want to go over the list I gave out. The 13 underrated guys that if your team drafts them, you should be pretty excited. No Packers, no Lions this year. Sorry, guys. There is one Chicago Bear, and we'll get to him at the very end. Cooper DeJean, the guy that we all wanted on our teams. I mean, every single one of us was like, yeah, if we pick him, that's a home run pick. A lot of home run references today. We should probably come up with some other words.
Grand Slam pick.
Grand Slam pick. To the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles just replenished their secondary. Just like that. Boom.
Reload.
We almost did that at the same time.
That was good.
Darius Slay is getting older. I think that has a big part to do with it as well. They got Kevin Byard at the deadline, but obviously he's gone and in Chicago now. So Cooper DeJean, great pick by the Eagles. Your boy, Cole's boy, Bucky Irving is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Don't love the fit, but it's okay.
I don't either, but they got him.
The offensive line isn't strong enough for him to have like a real successful start to his career. I'm already nervous.
The guy who will be 20 years old when his NFL career starts, Braylon Allen, the big running back out of Wisconsin, went to the New York Jets.
I didn't even see that.
He went to the Jets. I guess are they out on Breece Hall, or do they just want some more depth?
I don't like what the Jets do. I don't like this either. I think, like, what are they doing? Do they still have Dalvin Cook? Probably not.
I think that was just like a one-year deal.
But they had some other running back. Why can't I remember it? Breece Hall? No, there's somebody else. because they had
Well,
like a really filled.
Who did they trade? They traded somebody. Not in the off season, but during the season last year. Oh
I don't
gosh,
remember.
I can't remember.
They just have a packed running back room, and I don't like it. Can you see?
I was gonna look at. You said they traded him in the offseason?
Well,
I think it
let
was
me
like
look at it now.
mid-season last year, or like
Well, this is the depth chart.
maybe
I
even
know,
the
I
year
wanna see it.
before.
Okay.
Brees Hall.
Israel.
Israel Banaconda. You can play him now. He's good.
Yeah. I don't know, but the
I
Jets.
don't know.
I like Brazonovan Knight as well. Michael Carter. That might be
Michael
Yeah,
Carter.
because he was supposed to be so much better than
Yeah,
he was.
yeah.
But anyway, Braylon Allen is a New York Jet. I think that's a good pick for them. I mean, he's a good player. May not fit their system great, but he's a
Right.
good player. Wide receivers, your boy. No, you have a lot of boys.
Got a lot of boys.
Couple of boys involved here. Anthony Richardson got himself a new toy with A.D. Mitchell falling to the Colts in the second round. That's a good pick.
I do too.
And I love A.D. Mitchell. Now, in that offense, he's not going to get probably as many targets as he would anywhere else, but he's going to be a big help.
I was gonna say that's
He's
the
gonna be a
team that's
huge
got. I mean, they need wide receiver help more than anything. I mean,
Yeah.
when your second best guy is Alec Pierce, no shade to Alec Pierce, you kind of need somebody else to
but
booster that.
He will join Michael Pittman, though, and that's going to be a pretty good wide receiver core.
Decent.
Good enough for what the Colts want to
Absolutely.
do. Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. We've talked at length about that. Our boy Keon Coleman as well to the Buffalo Bills. Another great pick. Keon Coleman's college teammate, Johnny Wilson, is on the Eagles. I think they're trying to make up for their bad pick in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside a few years ago.
Is he that? He's freaking
6'7" dude.
6'7", yeah.
That's a good pick,
Enormous.
though. That's a good pick. And, is there some controversy with A.J. Brown right now? Did I hear about that the other day?
Maybe.
Maybe, potentially.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's just wide receiver deal
I think
stuff.
Johnny Wilson's they're gonna move him to tight end. I think they're gonna bolt.
I could see that. I could
He's
see
just
them.
so slow at
He probably can't
6'7".
block, though. That's a problem.
He's just so slow at 6'7". He's not very fast.
Jacob Cowing from Arizona went to the 49ers. The 49ers drafted
that
two highly touted wide receivers. They drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round, which, I mean, I don't love the pick, but it's the Niners. You can't really question them at this point. And with Ayuk potentially not being on the team anymore, I actually don't think he'll get traded. I think he'll end up coming back for at least one more year. But they're just getting some insurance for him. JT Sanders, another Texas guy. Carolina Panthers. I mean,
They'll probably get some Adam Thielen targets.
he'll get some targets, but
because they're just gonna. Bryce Young is immediately gonna get tackled, and he's gotta throw it away.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Brevin Spanford, a guy who I compared to Jimmy Graham last week, went to the Dallas Cowboys in an interesting move. I guess Jake Ferguson's going to get a nice little running mate here. Jaheim Bell, probably the guy that I said was the most criminally underrated in this draft, is a New England Patriot. He reminds me a lot of Jonnu Smith, if that makes sense. A super athletic tight end, not the greatest blocker, doesn't have a huge catch radius, but he's athletic. And then our boy, another one of our boys, Cooper Beebe, to the Dallas Cowboys. That O-line is going to be great for years now, at least 10 years. Cooper Beebe's a dog. We've been saying it
They
since
got
the
the next
beginning of
Zach
the
Martin.
draft prep.
They got the next Zach Martin.
And then Torrey Taylor, the punter from Iowa. I put him on here as a joke, just to give him a shout out. I mean, he was a weapon in college. There's no doubt about that. The Chicago Bears drafted him in the 4th round, a pick that was very, very surprising at the time. We did learn later that apparently some team was also just as sold on him as the Bears were, and we're going to take him before the Bears' next pick. So I think Poles got a little bit desperate and took him in the 4th round, but he did trade back into the draft and finally get something that we actually needed.
It's crazy. The Bears drafted a backup quarterback and a punter of their 5 picks.
Who's the backup quarterback?
There's a joke about Caleb Williams, but I guess it didn't hit.
No. We've hit a lot of home runs, but
Yeah.
not a lot of
didn't.
jokes. Torrey Taylor is a Chicago Bear. So there's your list. Shout out to the Cowboys and Eagles. They both had 2 players on this list. So they are primed for success for their rookies in 2024.
Can I talk a little bit about the Patriots? Can I throw a
Go ahead,
throw
sure.
a new one in the hat? Make it an even 14. I like how they've boosted and given Drake May some help.
Yep.
Including Jaheim Bell, Jalen Polk.
Dog.
Wonderful fit.
Absolute dog.
I think if there's like a late round wideout, and I know what he went like 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I feel it with this pick where it's like I think Jalen Polk's gonna be like a real guy.
The problem is he's already their best receiver.
Yeah, But that means a lot of targets.
Yeah.
It's coming his way a lot. Buy some Jalen Polk.
It's going to be a long road back for the Patriots, but they'll get there one day. They'll get there. I think Drake May will be pretty good. Give him he's a guy that I think you can give a couple of years.
He's got to develop
before you really start to evaluate him, because he does have a lot of developing to do, and he's in just a terrible situation for a new quarterback in New England right now. So, anything
100%.
else you guys want to hit on with the draft?
I have nothing.
I'm good. Yeah.
All right, now for this next segment, I am going to have to bring in a friend of mine to host this next segment. So let's go to that right now. Oh, didn't see you there. How's it going, everybody? My name is Jake Rouse, and welcome. That's Jakerouse, Jake Rouse. And welcome to America's favorite game show, Name That Take. Everybody at once. Name That Take. As I said, I'm your host, Jake, just some guy, Rouse. Tonight's program will determine who knows the members of the Inside Sports podcast the best, featuring some various quotes from throughout season 2 of the
This is so great.
Featuring various quotes throughout season 2 of the Inside Sports podcast. It's been a fantastic year, guys. My guy, Jake Rouse, was very kind and let me host the show tonight. So I want to thank him for that. Now, before we get to tonight's contest, let's meet our beautiful contestants up here. Let's start with Joey Bernard. Joey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am a graduate assistant with the Daily Egyptian. I have had a wonderful career in the sports media industry over here at SIU. I started as a sports reporter the same year that my fellow pal over here, Cole Daly, started. Then I grew as sports editor with the Daily Egyptian. I'm into live production of sports. I have done a lot of articles with the Daily Egyptian. I'm a huge Packers fan, and I'm a huge Cubs fan.
Really? You're a huge Packers fan?
Huge Packers fan.
I had no idea. Wow. Cole Daly.
My
On the
name's
other
Cole
side,
Daly.
introduce yourself. Who are you?
My name is Cole Daly, junior, editor-in-chief of the Daily Egyptian, studying sports journalism, a minor in history. I am a Lions fan for NFL, Bulls fan for NBA, Duke fan for men's college basketball, Texas fan for men's college football. I guess there's no women's college football, but
Nope.
we are
Men's college
here.
football.
Darn, we are here. I'm excited. I'm very excited to be on the show, Jake.
If you want to watch some women's football, I believe there's some lingerie leagues that go across the country. Now, what is Name That Take? I think that's a question you guys are wondering. I didn't really tell you guys what this was going to be about. Also, Name That Take has the worst lighting on the host in history. Flickering. Sorry if there's anybody with epilepsy at home. That's going to be terrible. But let me explain the rules. There are going to be 9 rounds of the game. The match will start by flipping of a coin, which I will get here as soon as I'm done explaining the rules. And the winner will decide who goes first and who goes second of the coin flip. For round 1, the player chosen to go first will get a question. Then the other player will get to answer the question regardless of whether or not the first player gets the question right. Because after the first 2 rounds, if the second player gets it right, he'll continue choosing a category. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Jamie? Okay. Now, what are these categories? You may be asking yourself. What?
Go. Continue.
All right. What are these categories? Well, in the interest of fairness, the game is broken down into 3 categories, as you guys can see. Is that broken down into Dogs of the Vet, NFL, and What'd You Learn? Those 3 categories have one thing in common. You guys have probably already figured it out. It's the ones that we are all 3 on, right? So I figured that would be the most fair. Each category contains 3 questions worth 100, 200, and 300 points. Now, as you could probably guess, the higher the point amount, the more difficult the takes are to guess. The game will end after all 9 questions have been asked, and since there's an odd number of slots, there's absolutely no way you guys can tie. And since this is episode 29 of the Inside Sports Podcast, you will have 29 seconds to collect your answer. Does that make sense?
Love to hear it.
Love it. Yeah.
It will begin as soon as I am done reading. Good luck, gentlemen. Let us begin, gentlemen. I should let you know that a wheel, everything that I picked, every take that I picked, every episode that I picked it from, I spun it on a wheel, so there wasn't any sort of bias. I didn't automatically go to pick. It was the most random process possible. And who knows? All 9 squares could be the exact same person. It could be all Cole Daly takes here.
Who knows?
It could be all JB takes. Basically, just Packer stuff, really.
Yeah.
It could
Is
be
Jay Cruz an option?
Jay Cruz is an option.
Good.
Yes, he wanted me to make it open to everybody. So let's begin. And since JB won the NFL Picks contest this season, I would like him to flip the coin, and Cole Daly, I would like you to call it in the air.
I think it's fitting that I will go. You can flip it. Give me heads.
It's heads.
It is heads.
So Cole Daly, you will go first.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Bernard will go after him. Starting with Joey, if you get the question right, you will get to go again. Once you get it wrong, we'll switch back to Cole, so on and so forth. Cole Daly, which category would you like to start us off with?
Let me go dogs at the vet for 100.
100 points. You picked a good one. Start us off. This is from episode 3 of the Inside Sports Podcast. So this was 26 episodes ago.
Okay.
A couple of freshmen that have really stuck out to me, especially early on. Emma Sturmenska, the setter from Slovakia. That could be like her nickname or something. The setter from Slovakia. Your 29 seconds starts now.
I know. I'm jumping in. Joey Bernard.
You think Joey Bernard said this?
Joey Bernard. 100%.
Now, since I am the greatest producer of all time, I have already queued up the audio, so you guys will be able to listen to who said the take live.
That's great.
This is the first one on my list. It's turned all the way up. Here is the take.
A couple of freshmen that have really stuck out to me, especially early on. Emma Sturmenska, the setter from Slovakia. That could be like her nickname or something. The setter from Slovakia.
Wow.
Jake
Ruse.
Jake Ruse.
Wow.
Jake
I really
Ruse.
thought that was you.
Jake
I
Ruse
really thought it was
said-
you.
Wow. Interesting.
Crazy.
Drama here early on. Cole Daly was wrong, but Joey B was going to get to go second regardless. So, Joey B, you may now pick a category.
Oh, man. I will do What'd You Learn for 100.
Very weak from both of you to start off.
You got to start it easy. Get going.
Hey, well, somebody didn't get to pick the
That was supposed to be easy. I thought that because I was the volleyball guy. Sorry,
Yeah.
because Jay Cruz was the volleyball guy. I thought.
No,
that
I
you
know, but I just.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we kind of separated it. He was
When I was listening back on that episode, there were many times where Cole said, "Jay Cruz, the volleyball expert." Da, da, da. So I'm like, okay, I figured that it's a 100 question. Surely he'll get this, but he did not. Now Joey Bernard, dogs at the vet for 100. Here's the quote. Sorry,
What'd You Learn?
what'd you learn for 100? I picked up the wrong card. That move tells me all I need to know about the possibility of Shohei Ohtani being a Chicago Cub. Your 29 seconds starts now.
Well, because it's Shohei Ohtani, MLB player, that limits my answers, and I believe that is myself, Joseph Bernard.
You believe that Joey Bernard said the quote. Let's find out who said the quote.
That move tells me all I need to know about the possibility of Shohei Ohtani being a Chicago Cub.
That hurts.
Joey Bernard, you now have 100 points.
Woo!
So here, I'll hand you this card.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. We now move on. You have another guess. Joey, which category would you like to pick?
I would like to do NFL for 100.
Wow, okay. So he's taking all the 100s off the board. Cole Daly staring very menacingly at Joey Bernard from the other side. NFL for 100, okay. Josh Allen overrated train? 3 interceptions to Jordan Whitehead, who I don't think anybody here thinks he's really that good. Jordan Whitehead? Your 29 seconds has begun.
I believe that this is me, and just because that is a horrible take, and I have had some of the worst takes on this podcast.
Wow, very self-deprecating on this one. Did Joey Bernard slander Jordan Whitehead?
Josh Allen overrated train. 3 interceptions to Jordan Whitehead, who I don't think anybody here thinks he's really that good.
Absolutely.
Jordan Whitehead.
He
So-
did. Wow.
Man,
I thought it was me.
Jordan Whitehead.
I thought it was.
What did
Congratulations,
he do to me?
Joey Bernard has taken an early lead here on the Inside Sports Podcast. Name that take game. Gosh dang it. That's going to happen more than once. So I'm just warning everybody now. I could try to mute the tab real quick. But while I am doing that, JB, pick another category.
I'd like to do NFL again for 200.
NFL for 200. Do you guys need anything? Water, coffee, anything
good.
like that?
I'm sitting pretty.
Just want to make sure.
I'd have a milkshake, please.
NFL for 200. By the way, that was also from episode 3. It just kind of happened that we got 2 quotes from episode 3. This quote is from episode 9 of the Inside Sports Podcast. So we're kind of going back in time a little bit with these first few. If you just watch them for 1 week, you're like, oh, then they could win a Super Bowl. But obviously not. And the Ravens are a well-coached team. They got a good quarterback. They've got good players all around the board. Your timer begins now.
So, I believe that is Cole Daly because we talked about the Ravens, and I think you talked about the Ravens quite a bit.
Cole Daly is his final answer. Name that take.
That's how good they. Like if you just watch them for 1 week, they're like, oh, then they could win a Super Bowl, but obviously not. And the Ravens are a well-coached team. They got a good quarterback. They've got good players all around the board.
Wow. I had not a clue. I had not a clue.
And the Ravens are a well-coached team.
Wow. You're going to win this. I don't think I'll ever play the game. I think it's just Joey's game.
We have a very different way of talking,
Yeah,
and it's distinct.
for sure.
Another 200 for Joey Bernard. He's up to 400. Still a ton of points left on the board for Cole Daly. So there's
Suppose.
a lot of time
If I
left to
get
go.
there, let's see.
If he gets there, though, Joey B is absolutely on fire right now. All right, Joey B, let's do it again.
Let's go Dogs at the Vet for 200.
Dogs at the Vet for 200. This is from
I
episode.
can't believe you got that. I had not a clue in the world.
This is from episode 27 of the Inside Sports Podcast. So this was just a couple weeks ago.
I'm never going to play.
For 200 points, the quote is, Jackie Liss is back. Sorry, MVC. She's back. So she's going to start dominating very, very soon against some good competition.
Oh, that one's tough.
That one is tough.
I think that is Jay Cruz.
You believe Jay Cruz said the quote. Is that your final answer?
Jay Cruz, final answer.
Final answer? Let's see if he's correct. Jackie Liss is back. Sorry, MVC. She's back. So she's going to start dominating very, very soon against some really good competition. We'll talk about
Oh my god.
this man is on fire right now.
Let's go.
This is unbelievable.
He is 5 for 5.
This is
Unreal.
Have I already clinched a win?
200.
No?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry.
My goodness, he is just destroying the cup. Cole, you had a chance. You got a question. This could be you right now. Would you have guessed all these same answers?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
I would not have.
Joey B is on a generational run
He
at
is.
this current moment. Still a lot of points, though. We've got all 300s left on the board. Joey, go ahead and count it up real quick. What are you at right now?
So 400 plus 500, 600 points right now.
600 points. So, yeah, there's still plenty of points on the board. But he is going to need him to miss one here soon. So, JB, as we enter round 6 of Name
That.
Take. Where would you like to go for this next one?
I think he has to go 200 or else I have no shot of winning.
No.
'Cause if he misses-
if he misses it, you're good.
I suppose that's true.
Well,
Yeah, you could still go
yeah.
300.
I want to go what'd you learn for 200.
There you go.
What'd you learn for 200?
I'll leave all the juicy ones.
I'm so excited.
I want you to answer one.
You're fine. Keep going. You're on a roll. It's honestly more impressive if you do the generational run thing.
What'd you learn for 200? I mean, I do get pretty rowdy on there, but I think we all... Oh, my gosh, get out of here.
What?
What?
Can we get a repeat?
Your 29
the question?
seconds. Yes, but it will cut into it's his choice first off, and it will cut into his 29 seconds, which starts now.
Can you repeat?
I mean, I do get pretty rowdy on there, but I think we all ... Oh my gosh, get out of here.
I know who it is. 100%.
I'm gonna guess J. Cruz.
That's your final answer.
That is my final
You've
answer.
got 10 more seconds to think about it.
That is my final answer.
Okay. For 200 points, Cole Daly absolutely needs this to be wrong.
I know who it is.
The quote is
there any way to
I
steal?
do get pretty no.
Okay.
I mean, I do get pretty rowdy on there, but I think we all... Oh my gosh, get out of here. So this is the sixth one.
I do get pretty rowdy on there, but I think
Every time Jordan Love completed a pass, he's like, "We are seeing the ascension of Jordan Love. We are seeing it."
Okay.
Every time Jordan Love completed
I knew it was
That's
you.
wrong.
I knew it was you.
What was I talking about?
I knew it was you.
What could I
That
have
was
been talking
JB.
about?
I knew it was you.
Here's the context. I'll play some context.
I got Twitter.
Oh, talking about my Twitter. That is hilarious. I would never have
Yes.
guessed myself. I did not think in a million years it was me.
All right, so Cole Daly.
Still alive.
So he has 600 points. You could get 600 in 2 turns right here, if you so choose. But you must be very careful. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to choose?
Let's go NFL for 300.
NFL for 300. He needs at least 2. And then if we can't actually end it in a tie, I was a bad planner. I would have lied about that earlier. If that was the case, we'll come up with something. Hopefully that doesn't happen though. These are the 300 questions, so it's going to be pretty tough. This is NFL for 300 for the man Cole Daly. I mean, when you get demolished as you did, which is a pretty embarrassing when your pants are down moment, tell us what that's like. Your 29 seconds has begun.
Is it NFL? And they're all season 2?
All season 2. This is from episode 6 of the Inside Sports podcast.
Read it again, read it
season
again,
2.
read it again, read it again.
I mean, when you get demolished as you did, which is in a pretty embarrassing when your pants are down moment, tell us what that's like.
I know it.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7.
Oh
6,
my god,
5,
no.
4, 3, 2, 1. Give me something.
Okay, let's go with, I'm going to go final answer, Joey B.
Joey B is his answer. Let's see who it was.
No, I mean when you get demolished as you did.
Oh,
Which is
you know,
is
it's-
embarrassing your pants were down moment.
Okay.
Tell us what that's like.
I mean, it's okay.
I knew it was me. I knew it was me. And Joey kept going, I know who it is. And I was like, no, it must have been him then. No. No, because I was totally something I would say.
Oh no, Cole Daly.
You were making fun of me about the Lions demolishing Green Bay on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah,
That's
There's
exactly
a question
what
at
that
the end
was.
that threw me off. What was that like?
so sad. Yeah, you were asking JB what it was like.
Yeah.
What was that like? Getting demolished like you guys did. You got on me.
All right, JB. Well, you've pretty much sealed the deal. To add a little extra spice, I will let Cole Daly try to steal these, just so he has a chance. Go ahead and choose.
I'm gonna go. What'd you learn for 300?
What'd you learn for 300?
Hands down moment.
I mean, these were supposed to be the harder ones,
So
right?
you.
100%
That's so you.
hard. But the question at the end, I was like, that sounds like you. Hey, what was that like? It's definitely.
What'd you learn for 300? I finally have confidence in him dropping back to throw. That is a really, really good feeling.
Oh my god.
This is from
I should've-
episode
Oh
5.
my god.
This is from episode 5 of the
Are
Inside
you
Sports
kidding
podcast.
me?
5.
Yeah.
Episode 5.
This is
It's-
tough because we all probably said a similar phrase about our quarterbacks this year.
It's J. Cruz. Final answer.
Was that going to be your answer as well?
Do I get to
Cole
steal? Do I get to steal?
Daly? Well, he hasn't gotten it wrong yet.
I know, but
Oh, okay.
you can't play it and then I guess.
Sure. Well, obviously your answer is not Jay Cruz if you want to steal. Maybe it was. We'll see.
It's cool.
We'll
It's
see
cool.
what happens. Okay.
It's cool.
And finally have confidence in him dropping back to throw. That is a really, really good feeling.
What was
I know what it was. Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers. It was Quinn
talking
Ewers.
about Quinn Ewers.
For
wish
kicks
I
and
grabbed
giggles,
that.
JV has won the contest, but for kicks and giggles, we'll let you have.
Well, he's got 600, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, he got it naturally though. I'm a fair judge. He earned it.
Play for the game. What do we come on? Let's be fun.
I'll still throw out a bonus.
Be
though.
fun.
I
Yeah,
have.
throw
We'll
in a
still throw
bonus.
out a bonus. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's keep going. He still gets to guess first.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You still can win the game right here.
Well, it's technically your turn though.
No, because
I just got the last one wrong.
He got it wrong, so it's your turn. Let's go, Cole Daly.
All right. Well, you said whatever.
You didn't have a chance to pick, so you have to do Dogs to the Death for 300. Okay.
Okay. No, I get you.
This is from episode 22 of the Inside Sports Podcast.
Okay.
We've got enough offensive weapons on this team to where if the pitching can just hold them under 4 runs, I think we're going to be all right.
Repeat.
We've got enough offensive weapons on this team to where if the pitching can just hold them under 4 runs, I think we'll be all right.
I'll go Joey B.
He's going Joey B. For the tie.
It was high.
For the tie.
I've guessed wrong. Every time I guess you, it's wrong. So let's see.
Pitching can just hold them under 4 runs. Congratulations.
Every time I guess you, it was Jake Cruz.
Congratulations to our champion, Joey Bernard.
NFL picks champions.
This isn't fair. He edits
600
pods. How am I supposed to- He listens to him twice.
Well, watch the
I was
pod. Watch the pod. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. It was very fun to prepare, very fun to go back and watch a lot of our moments from this year. A lot of bad things were said. A lot of correct things were said, though, as well.
That's right.
But yes, some of these quotes are really cool. There's so many other quotes that were better than the ones in this game that I wish I could have put in there. But I had to be fair. Had to be fair and had to be just. So congratulations, Joey B. You had 600 points, I believe.
600
And
points.
Cole Daly, you did get 300 by virtue of a steal, which I bent the rules for toward the end of the game. But yeah, I hope. Did you like the audio too as well? Having the audio.
Yeah, the audio
hooked
was
up?
perfect.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
We could
that was
tell
very
whoever
fun.
was saying it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring my friend Jay Cruz back up here for our "What Did You Learn" segment.
Hello, folks. We're all back. We're all in our Inside Sports t-shirts. And Jay Cruz, I think he's still in denial right now. But once again, this is the last
No, I'm not in denial. I'm just
episode.
delaying the inevitable
That's right.
depression.
Yeah.
That's right. With our last What'd You Learn segment on the show. Jay Cruz, would you like to start?
Yeah. I said this, I don't know if we were recording when I said this, but we've done 54 pods. That doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider that most of the pods were anywhere between an hour and hour and a half long, let's say you split that down the middle, right? That's 75 minutes times 54. That's an insane amount of minutes that we've spent doing this pod. So
Right.
we've built a legacy.
We do.
We have built a legacy. And what I learned is that we are all extremely lucky to be in the positions that we are. I never thought that I would ever do, I figured it would happen at some point, but I'll never forget the day that Annie asked me to do this pod. And I was like, what? Like, there's people in this room that like this kind of stuff? Because I didn't know that, I didn't even know Cole Daly's existence at this point. I had sort of known JB because we had worked together on a couple things, like with Dennis and the production truck and whatnot. But yeah, it was crazy, and I didn't know when I first started if it was going to be good, and B,
It wasn't good for a long time.
it wasn't for a long
wasn't
time,
a while.
and B, would it ever, I didn't want it to become something like. You ever start something new and you always wonder oh gosh, I hope I don't hate this thing after actually doing it, right?
Yeah. Right.
But obviously I don't, and I think that we've built something cool here, and it's been truly a blessing to do this last couple of years, and our legacy is gonna live on forever here.
Absolutely. We're a staple of the Daily
We're a
Egyptian
staple of the Daily Egyptian.
YouTube channel. Joey B, how about you? What have you learned?
Yeah, just over the past 2 years, right? Going into a podcast like this, I thought it was just going to be – I was so excited to talk about the NFL specifically. And then, later on we got to talk about baseball when, the spring came up, at least first year. But I guess I didn't realize how much I actually didn't know in the sports world in general, right? Specifically in the college landscape. And listening to you guys talk about all these prospects that I had never even heard of in the NFL, right? It's just so eye-opening to me. And I guess the thing that I learned is that I still have a lot to learn about, in the sports world and in the college landscape, and just how to, I guess, handle myself on a podcast like this and how to do a podcast like this. So you guys have opened my eyes in the sports world to a whole new landscape. And even like Jordan, a lot of his he was stat guy for us for a long time on the NFL segment. So
I was really just some guy back then.
You really were.
At that point, I was
just that guy.
genuinely just some guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you two have just changed the whole landscape and added a whole new element into sports that I didn't really even want to pay attention then, and I've started to gain a little bit more interest into college sports recently. Mm-hmm. And I'll be forever thankful for you guys for allowing me this opportunity to speak my mind on a podcast like this and just work with you two.
I think the thing that's the most gratifying about being a college sports fan and a professional sports fan is that when you I'll use Jaden Reed as this example. Like, I watched him a ton at Michigan State, and then to be able to say, yeah, I think that the guy's going to be good, and then he goes to the Packers, and he's good, and it's that much more painful, but it's also that much more gratifying knowing that you saw a guy from when he was even in high school and watching him grow as a college player and then seeing him go to the pros, and you just sort of have that connection, lifelong connection with guys that you don't really get if you're just a pro sports guy. Like, that's why I was a huge Justin Fields guy, because I had been watching him for 3 years prior to the Bears. Mm-hmm. So you already had that connection. I think that's one of the cool things about college sports.
And sometimes you can watch a guy for years and love him, and then he can still suck, like Justin Fields, like he talks about.
I don't know. All right. Let's watch him out there. What about you, Cole Daly?
3 years ago, I decided that I would come to Southern Illinois University. I originally came here for zoology, if you can believe it.
Shout out.
I want to be a wildlife biologist.
Crazy.
I was inspired by the folks at The Ringer that I continually shout out, Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, to then pursue sports journalism. Through that, had my communications day orientation over Zoom, because that's how we used to do it back then during COVID days.
Wild times.
And I talked to director of the journalism department, Jan Thompson. And I shared with her my interest in starting a podcast. She got me in touch with the Daily Egyptian. A year goes by. I work as sports reporters with Joey B. It was a rough start.
It really was.
Two stories a week. We were in a much different shape back then. And then I get hired as assistant sports editor, and we make this a reality, me and you. Mm-hmm. We kind of do it. It's a little rough to start. We needed Jay Cruz.
We certainly did.
We needed his expertise. We needed,
certainly did not.
We have a good year last year. We finally start getting mics. Here we are in the studio now.
Yeah.
We've grown a lot. And I think back to 3 years ago, being scared of doing this new thing, college, kind of believing in myself, I can do this, I can do the pod thing. And we may not have hundreds of viewers. We may not have thousands of viewers, right? This is our thing. This is our baby. We want to reach the people at the Daily Egyptian.
Exactly.
And I'm just extremely happy that, one, this dream that I had at 18 years old was able to become a reality. Like you said, we filled 54 shows. Right. And, of course, that gained two of my best friends here at Southern Illinois University's campus through this. And so what'd you learn, as corny as it is, dreams do come true. This has been an absolutely monumental thing in my life that I'm very, very appreciative of. And I wanted to let you boys know that, and the fans at home, about what this podcast really, truly means to me. And so with that, unless you boys have anything more to say, this has been episode 29, the last edition of the Inside Sports Podcast, at least with these three boys. You never know. Could come back, could be revived. But If you are listening to this on Spotify, please be sure to like the episode. Give us a follow so that you know when new episodes drop. And if you could please like on YouTube, comment if you feel like it, and also be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you know when our new episodes drop. When is it, Joey?
Saturday mornings.
Saturday mornings. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your day. Yes, the DE is capitalized.